It's really a master class, but just very, very happy and excited to be here. Thanks for coming out. You know, for this, I wasn't expecting to have, I don't think anyone was expecting to have this many people at the class. We do have 9 ukuleles. You know, we do have 9 ukuleles, but, and I know that some of you, you know, are looking forward to playing and strumming along, so, and some of you have ukuleles, I guess. Yeah, all right, that's fantastic. So what I will do is, the first thing I'd like to do is I just want to introduce the instrument to you and just talk a little bit about it and explain it. I've been playing the ukulele since I was about 4 years old, you know, and I was born and raised in Hawaii, so my mom played, so she started teaching me when I was about 4 years old, about 15 years ago, and I just... But I just fell in love with this instrument. You know, the first thing I learned on the ukulele were the 3 chords to the Hawaiian vamp, which sounded like this. That's all, 3 chords. D7, G7, and C major. And when I would play those 3 chords, you know, there was a song that the local people in the islands would sing, and it was a song about the plantation days. And it was something like, it was like, you know, because they were hired as very cheap labor, and you know, so it's a song about that. But it was called Used, or USED, and it went something like, USED suckers every day, 50 cents an hour, $4 a day. USED suckers every day, they make you whistle for your money. Something like that. So that's, now you know why I don't sing. And I only play instrumental music, but that was just, I just wanted to make, you know, I just wanted to give you an idea of the kind of music that I started out playing. And then what my mom would do is she would encourage me to write my own lyrics, you know, to simple melodies. So when I was a kid, I was a big fan of Bruce Lee. So I would take those same 3 chords and that same melody, and I wrote something like this. It went, I had a dream I was a kung fu star. I had so much muscles you could see them from far. The ladies all went crazy when I walked by, but I punch them in the stomach and kick them in the eye. So that was and then after that bit, I realized that I should only write instrumental music. So that's kind of how I started out. And early on, I realized that I couldn't sing. So I would play songs for people. I would play something like, and just by strumming that, no one had any clue as what song I was playing, because I wasn't singing, you know, and it lacked the melody. But then then I had to learn how to play melody with the chords, you know, or like take a simple melody like, right? So now when I put that, see, now you know, oh, that's the Lion King song. Well, not really the Lion King song, but all the kids know it as the Lion King song, right? So that's how I kind of developed my style of playing. You know, it was really because I was a horrible singer, and I had to learn how to make the song recognizable and interesting at the same time, you know, harmonically and rhythmically. And the cool thing about the ukulele is the tuning. If you start with the first string, or the string that's closest to the floor, it's an A. Right? Now the string above that is an E. Then the string above that is a C. This is what we refer to as middle C, or like middle C on the piano. Okay, this is it right here. Now the note above that you would think would be even lower than this, but it's actually a 5th above. It goes to a high G. See? So on the ukulele you have 4 strings, but your lowest string is the 3rd string. And your 2 high strings are on the outside, on the first and 4th. And they're only a whole step apart. So if you think of the piano, they're like two white keys apart, right? Just like that, with a black key in the middle. So that's the interesting thing of the ukulele, because your two high strings are on the outside. Your two top voices for chords are on the outside. You have two options for that. And what is great about that is I can get very close piano-like voicings, things that sound like this, like cluster chords. I can get these very, I can use very simple fingerings, and I can get these types of chords because of this high fourth string. So for those of you that are musicians, this is an E minor add 9 chord. In this position, it's very difficult to achieve this on the guitar because I have this minor second voicing right here. They're only a half step apart. You see that? But it's a very beautiful sound. So that's one of the things that, to me, is a strength of the instrument. You know, it's these little things. Even using utilizing the high fourth string, you can utilize. I mean, you can play, for example, scales instead of. I can utilize this top note, right, to be a little bit more expressive, and to that's a little technique known as campanella technique for those of you that play classical guitar. So, hey, what's up, Austin? Everybody, this is Austin. Did you guys hear Austin play yet?
Oh.
Phenomenal musician. And he also plays. Well, he's a sax player, but he also plays guitar and ukulele and what else do you play? You sing too, right? And he sings, he writes songs, composes, arranges. Yeah, he's too talented. But so that's the cool thing about the ukulele. So what I want to do is I just want to I'm gonna play a little bit, and I'm gonna play a few songs where I really utilize this top string, And this is a song, an arrangement of a Japanese folk tune known as Sakura Sakura, or Cherry Blossom. And with this arrangement, you're going to notice that I use that minor second voicing that I was talking about a lot. This sound. This is in the key of B minor. Now, getting back to the idea of playing the melody to make the song recognizable. Here's an example of like a tune, you know, a very famous tune, and it's a song by Adele called "Rolling in the Deep." You know, taking a song like that, and you know, trying to come up with an arrangement, you know, to really. Wait, first of all, are you guys familiar with "Rolling in the Deep"? Some of you. Some of you are not, though, yeah. How about, okay, let's take maybe Over the Rainbow. Everybody knows Over the Rainbow, right? So Over the Rainbow. So taking that melody. Right? Now we all know that. Now the chords, right, simply. That's the basic harmony behind it. I mean, there's different ways that you can harmonize it, but that's the basic way. So what I do is I take that melody and I play it with the chord. So I changed it again. Or something like, so really bringing out the melody, you know, behind the chords that you're playing helps the I think the listener, or even for myself, you know, to kind of follow along, you know, and to play along. Here's another example, and this is something I just played in a gospel show, but this is a different approach here. All right, what I'm going to do is, this is an old classical guitar technique, you know, it's known as a tremolo technique. So what I'm going to do is with my thumb, I'm going to arpeggiate the chords. This is Ave Maria. Okay? And then with my other fingers, I'm going to play the melody. Okay? And you put it together and it sounds like this. So that's a different approach, right? Thank you very much. Here's another. This is more like fingerstyle players. But what you can also do is you can alternate the thumb, you know, onto. I mean, you can designate the thumb to play different strings, like something like this, as simple as. Now what I'm doing is I'm just using my thumb to play the third and fourth string. It's just alternating this way. Other fingers is I'm going to play a melody over this while keeping the thumb going. And it sounds like one more time. So that's another road. So there's all of these different ways that you can play the instrument, you know. And I remember when I was a kid, like people would say, why you play the ukulele, but you like to play rock tunes and you like to play, like, why don't you play the guitar? And to me, I always thought that the ukulele, well, of course, as a kid, it being a smaller instrument, it was easier for me to get my hands around it, and it was a lot cheaper than a guitar as well. That's why I love playing this instrument. But I always felt that there was so much more to be discovered with this instrument. There's so much you can do, especially with this high G string, or this top string here. You can use it as like a drone, and you can do like banjo techniques. I wrote a song once utilizing a lot of those techniques, and it went something like utilizing this top string. Just to give you an idea, so those kinds of sounds, being creative with this fourth string is what gives this instrument its character, its the uniqueness, and really its power. It's the key with the ukulele is really to embrace the simplicity. I think when you embrace the simplicity of the instrument, that's when you realize, like, this is a cool thing. Because when you play other instruments where you have, all the tools that you can possibly think of, like if you're a piano player, and you have all the notes that you could ever need, right? You're constantly thinking, what can I add? What can I add? What can I add? But with the ukulele, you're constantly thinking, what can I subtract? What can I not play? Because you only have 4 strings and 2 octaves to work with. 2 octaves, all right? So my lowest note is the third string, which I told you was middle C. Now I have a C above that. All right, now I have one more C above that. See, way up here. So that's my 2 octaves. This C, that's pretty much that much. That's about, if you go in front of a piano, that's about that much of the keyboard right there. That's all you have to work with. 2 octaves. But because you only have 2 octaves to work with, I think that you tend to use, you put more thought into every note, because it's like, if you only have a limited amount of words, like when you're tweeting, you only can use so many letters, right? So you have to be very concise, and you have to kind of think about what you want to say. Whereas if you're writing an email to somebody, you go on and on and on and on and on, right? But it's kind of like that, when you're arranging for the ukulele, it's like you're tweeting. Every note, every chord that you play, every harmony, every voicing. For example, if I want to play, like like a C13 chord, I can't play all those notes that I need, so I have to break it down, and so maybe I'll just take the third, I'll play the flatted 7th, and I'm not saying that only ukulele players do this. I mean, a lot of great jazz musicians do this very well, but the reason I mention this is because playing the ukulele from the very beginning, you have to think this way, whereas accomplished guitar players, piano players, it takes them, they get to a certain level, and then they start going backwards, because then they realize they don't need to play this, or they don't need to play that, and they don't need to overplay things, right? That's why the really great musicians, the jazz musicians, when you listen to them, it's just like, wow, I mean, they can just play like 3 notes and just, oh man, they can just make you cry with 3 notes, you know. But when you're starting out, especially as a guitar player, or you want to just every time you have a solo, you got right. You want to play 1,000,000 notes as fast as you can, and I think it's something we all go through. But playing the ukulele, you can't do that all the time. Right? So I'm just going to run through a few different styles of music and just to kind of show you a little bit of what you can get on these instruments. Here we go. Thank you very much. Going over the right hand, the way I developed my way of strumming, is very different because when I first started playing the ukulele, everyone strummed this way. And if you notice, what I'm doing here is I'm bending at the elbow. You see my elbow, right? My elbow is bending, and I'm playing up and down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, right? Like this. I realized that if you play that way, it's very difficult to get a lot of speed and endurance because you're using the larger muscles in your arm. Not that I have any large muscles or anything, but I'm just saying the larger muscles of your arm. And and playing this. So I used to watch a lot of drummers, especially in the drum line. When you watch in the marching band and you see those drummers and they play all these really cool things, and you watch when they play, it's all in the wrist. It's like checking to see if a door is locked or unlocked. You kind of jiggle it like this, and it's that same motion. That same motion applies to when you're strumming. So now when I strum, instead of doing this, it's a wrist rotation or a forearm rotation. So then once I started getting into, watching a lot of drum lines and listening to a lot of drum lines, I started trying to copy, their rhythms. So I would play things like, right? And then I was like, oh, this is kind of cool, and then I started practicing that all the time. And then the way that I would develop, the speed, would just be, I would start, for those of you that play the ukulele now, I would start with quarter notes like this. Just all downstrokes. Then I would add the up. That's how you get your 8 notes, right? To get your 16 notes, what you do is you make all of your 8 notes downstrokes. Down, 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 down. Now to get the 16 notes, you add the upstroke from here.
So that's how you get into the faster strumming. And then practicing like that, starting with quarter notes, going to eighth notes and going to 16th notes, just doing that all the time, then you start to really develop that internal pulse, so you could take something like, and then you go faster. And faster. You get really comfortable with it. And then once you get that, then it's just a matter of you just have a series of downs and ups. Down, up, 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 down, up. Then it's a matter of just picking and choosing which downs and which ups you want to accent. So if I'm playing down, up, down, up, A, down, 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 see how my hand never stops moving? Because even though I'm not making contact with the strings, the rhythm is still happening, It's still there. So anytime I want to come back in, one, two, three, four, one, two, three, four, one, two, three, four, one, two, three, four, one. See, it's always there. And then when you get really comfortable with that, then that's where you get all these different syncopations, things that you hear like. Okay, so this is the basic, starting 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Thank you very much. Thank you. So that's basically, how you come up with all of these different rhythms. Now, aside of triplets and sextuplets, then it gets a little bit more complicated. But for basic common meter stuff, it's all found in those downs and ups. So, all right, we're gonna all get to play in a little bit. One more thing I want to show you. One of the things that I love about the ukulele is it's so easy to get started playing right away. I'm going to show you two basic chords, C and F. You only need your index finger. That's all you need. Well, and then your right hand, of course. But the way that I like to explain to people how to look at the instrument if they don't understand music is I like to use this idea of like a hotel, or almost like a graph stuff. And what I do is I tell everyone that the strings are like the different floors, or I guess I should use like the different decks on the ship. So you have deck 1, deck 2, deck 3, and deck 4. That way you always remember that the string that's closest to the ground is always the first string. Some people think, why isn't it 1, 2, 3, 4? It's always from the bottom up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? So that's a great way to remember. Think of it as decks or floors, different floors, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. First floor, second floor, third floor, fourth floor. All right? Now, each space between the frets is like your room. So like your room number. So hey, you're on the second floor, room 1. That would be second floor, 1, 2, room 1, right here. All right? Or maybe I'm on the first floor, room 5. So here on the first floor, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There I am. Okay, now sometimes you don't have a room, but you want to go to the third floor. So you're on the third floor, so you don't come out of the elevator, you stay in there and it's an open string. Fourth floor, room 3. Go all the way up to the fourth floor, 1, 2, 3. So now these positions can now be, you can express them with 2 numbers. So I can say 1, 3. Deck 1, room 3, right here. Or how about 2, 1, second floor, room 1. Very easy. Now, when you play a chord, you're playing all 4 strings at once. Okay? And the easiest way to do it is with your thumb of your right hand. You're just going to take your thumb, you're just going to drape it down the strings. Just like that. Right? And the way I like to explain to people the feeling of it is like, it's like, if you're standing on the curb and you get really close to the curb and you just let your foot kind of slip off the curb like this, just it's on it, slipping, and it slips like this. That's the feeling you want. Your thumb, it's like it's on the curb and it's just sliding right off. Just like that. Okay? So the first chord you're going to learn is the C chord. And you're going to take your index finger, put it on 1, 3. First floor or first string, room 1, 2, 3. Okay, so imagine that, visualize that. For those of you that are going to play an instrument in a little while, I want you to just picture yourself holding the instrument, visualize that. Okay, I'm going to the first string or the first floor, and I'm going to count the frets. 1, 2, 3. 1, 3. That is my first chord. And I'm going to take my thumb and I'm going to drape it down the strings. Now the next chord you're going to learn is 2, 1. 2, 1. Visualize that. 2, 1. Go to the second floor. 1, 2. And the first room. There's your room. Put your finger there. And now strum that. That's your second chord. So go back and forth from 1, 3. Just visualize that for now. 1, 3. 2, 1. 1, 3. 2, 1. And 1, 3 and stop. That's all. You see how simple it is. I'm going to show you one more cool thing, okay, just so that you can have a song in mind. George Harrison was one of my favorite, musicians, but he wrote a song called Something. So I'm going to show you the first 4 chords to that song. And all you're going to need is your index finger. Now the chords are 1, 3, which you just learned. Then the next chord is you're going to visit your friend next door to 1, 2. But that was the wrong room, so you got to go to the next room, which is 1, 1. And then you're going to go to 2, 1. That's the first 4 chords to Something. And if you listen to it, it goes like this. Well, you can sing it to yourself, baby. Something in the way you do. 1, 1. 2, 1. See that? See how simple this instrument is. All right? Okay, so now that you understand, the fretboard, in that style. I'm going to pass out some ukuleles. So I'm going to just hand them out and just pass them back to whoever wants. tone. Tone is so important. I mean, that's like when you listen to Dave Koz play, you know, when Dave plays, I mean, it's just, he can play one note and it's just so beautiful. It's just so beautiful. Everything he plays is beautiful. And with the ukulele, it can be challenging sometimes to achieve that kind of tone. You know, when you play a note, there's so many different ways that you can play it. You know, I can get this kind of sound. I can get this. I can get this. Right? I mean, there's so many different timbres and colors that I can express, you know, with just by using the different parts of my thumb. You know, or by or where I pluck the string. If I pluck back here versus up here versus back here. Hear how different they all sound? Watch, I'm just rotating my thumb. See all the different sounds I'm getting just by doing this? So sometimes when I want that really rich, fat tone, I'll push my wrist forward versus. Hear the difference? You know, sometimes when I really want to dig into the string, see, so you can get so many different sounds and color, you know, by using different parts of your finger. That's really important, you know, even when I'm strumming. You know, I'm going to show you two basic strumming techniques that I like to use, and the first one, I'm going to use the insides of my fingers, the inside of my index and the inside of my thumb, okay? And you get this very wispy, airy sound. It sounds like this. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use the other sides of my fingers, which becomes the top of the nail of the index and the top of the nail of the thumb. And it sounds like this. Same thing. See, there's a little bit more harshness to it, but there's more attack, you know, and it's a little bit more aggressive. So I'm gonna play a song, and I'm gonna repeat the A section. And when I play the A section the first time, I'm gonna use the insides of my fingers. And when I play it the second time, I'm gonna use the outside of my fingers. So you can hear the difference in timbre between the two. All right, here we go. Here we go. All right, back to the outsides. So, you can totally hear the difference in timbre, and it's not just volume. but it's almost like, it's just a completely different color, you know. And that's the beauty of, I think, especially when you're playing solo arrangements. It's you can hear all these subtle things, and it's wonderful because the ukulele, I think, is such a sensitive instrument. There's so much to it. It can be so expressive. It can get big and huge, but it can also be like a whisper. Here's another example of just really bringing it down to a whisper. Thank you very much. Thank you. And that's another very, very powerful technique in music is dynamics. Dynamics are just, to me, one of the most powerful tools that you can use, more than complex harmonies, or more than like intricate rhythms. And it's something that we can all relate to, going from something really soft to bam, loud, and almost scaring the living daylights out of you. But the use of dynamics is so powerful. And I think that's one thing that two things. One thing that the ukulele has really taught me is to not rely so much on notes. But because I have such limited notes on this instrument, it forces me to expand on the other aspects of music. And the second thing that I appreciate about the ukulele is that audiences all over the world have such low expectations. And I have no problems with that. But I don't know what we're gonna do, but I know Janine has her singing song with her, and I guess we'll just try and improvise something and see what happens, because I heard she's amazing, and believe it or not, I actually tried playing the singing song once. Yes. Oh yeah, sure. The more the merrier. I'm sorry, this is your boyfriend?
No, this is Terry.
No, we met the other day.
Oh, you're yeah, that's right. Oh, okay.
But I just
Saw.
Yeah.
yeah.
I never know.
Okay, sounds great, yeah. So this is I had a request for this, but this is cool because this kind of I think puts together everything that we talked about today. You know, as far as like when we talked about voicing the instrument, voicing of chords, timbre, tone color, bringing out the melody, the song, and just everything. I think with the ukulele, utilizing the top fourth string. So this is an arrangement that I came up with a couple of years ago, and it's one of my all-time favorite classic rock tunes. But it's a song entitled. Well, let me tell you a quick story behind this piece. Actually, I was doing a radio interview one day, and the guy said, "Hey, Jake, you do a lot of different songs or different kinds of genres, on the ukulele, different styles. So do you think anything is possible on the ukulele?" So basically, all I said was, "Well, I think if you can hum it, you should be able to make it work somehow, right?" So he said, "Oh, great. Well, can you play Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody?" And I said, "Nah, I don't know." So I went home that night, and I basically told myself, you know what, I better put my I guess my money where my mouth is. So I started listening to the tune over and over and over, and and came up with this arrangement. Because it's not just about, like I said, capturing the right notes or the right chords, but it's always about feeling and capturing the spirit of the song, which is in a lot of ways very, very difficult to do, especially when you're dealing with a song like that. So this is an example of pruning. When you're working with a tune, arranging a tune, like I always, when you play other instruments, you're always adding because you have all these notes. Whereas like Janine only has one note that she can play at a time. Like most horn players, you can only play one note at a time. But with the ukulele, you have the ability to play a 4-note chord. And it doesn't matter how complex the chord is. A lot of times you can get away with just picking the right 4 notes out of any chord and making it work. So here's my attempt at that. So I hope you enjoy this. But again, thank you so much for hanging out with us and joining us. And Jenny, thank you for coming up and doing that. That was beautiful. Thank you. Oh, and you said you're going to be playing here?
Here tonight at 6:30.
Tonight at 6:30? Okay, all right. I'm sorry, but Terry Wallman. Terry Wallman will be here tonight at 7:30.
6:30.
Oh, 6:30. I'm sorry, 6:30. So you can catch Terry over here as well. Yeah. Just stay, and you'll have great seats.
You have just seen
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you so much. Have fun for the rest of day 3. I'm Jake Shimabukuro. Thanks for joining us at the ukulele workshop. Take care, and thank you again to Janine and Terry. You guys, thank you very much. Aloha.